Battle control initialized.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Red Alert Gaming League, Season 9, Minions Round 1. In the lower right corner, playing as Russia, we have Sigil in lavender. And in the upper left corner, playing as Ukraine, we have Dodobird in blue. Sigil, one of 2 Americans in the entire competition. Let's go to the production tab. Sigil just slightly ahead in deployment of his barracks. Sigil dispersing his forces, trying to get control of those derricks early on. Dodobird with a flamer in his pocket, anticipating a rush of some sort, either a grenadier rush or a rocketeer rush. Sigil first capture one of the oil derricks. Dodobird not far behind. Sigil with an expeditionary force. Dodobird pulling back just a little ahead of that rifleman. Sigil with better field control, arguably. Both players dead even now in their builds. Sigil now on 2 oil derricks, but running behind in his income. I wonder if Dodo is microing his harvesters. Dodo is going to try to dislodge Sigil from his oil derrick he's just captured, but the line of sight advantage provided by the oil derrick and the flanking maneuver is going to take a big bite out of that army. That engineer is going to have to fall back, though. Sigil now on 3 oil derricks. Dodobird with the action per minute advantage at 25 to Sigil's 17. Sigil about to... No, he did end up producing that flak truck. It's going to be very useful in harassing the army of Dodobird. Sigil with a distinct field advantage. The line of sight being provided by the 3 oil derricks he's captured. Taking out the last remaining scout on the left side of Dodobird. Dodobird is going to come out with a service depot first. But Sigil is going to come out with an MCV first. Very interesting. Sigil also, unfortunately, with a bad rally point for his harvesters. I hope he realizes that before he sends that one all the way over there. Doesn't look like he will, though. Sigil is going to come out about 25 seconds ahead with his MCV. Sigil also doing a great job with his small forces in maintaining map control, but again with that unfortunate rally point for his harvesters, setting him further back in income despite having 3 oil derricks. Sigil out first with his MCV. Some APC harassment from Dodobird. And Sigil with his first expansion. Dodobird has his first MCV out. Ready to drop that refinery. And not the best refinery placement from Dodobird. Well, not expansion. Could have definitely got it a few squares closer. Dodobird with a sizable infantry force, but no armor to speak of aside from the APC and one lone heavy tank, which is now out of position, exposing his ore field to the infantry contingent of Sigil. Dodobird about to make a major offensive into Sigil's forces. Targeting his oil derrick. Sigil now down to 2 derricks. Sigil making a counter push on the enemy's ore patch. There's 1 harvester down. There's 2 harvesters down. And another offensive line from Sigil moving in. Dodobird rotating his forces to deal with the first attack, loses another harvester. Now down to 4 harvesters to Sigil's 7. Sigil with a distinct income advantage now. 2,500. Also with 2 derricks. At some point destroying the derrick of Dodobird. Sigil now controlling the only 2 derricks left on the field. Dodobird with a sizable force, 5 heavy tanks, and a massive infantry blob, attempting to regroup his forces and position his tanks out front. Sigil with expeditionary scouts, and he is pretty well going to lose this engagement, despite being static. The overwhelming forces of Dodobird just overrunning the position of Sigil. Sigil reinforcing the position and also making a counter push on Dodobird's main base. Dodobird rerouting his forces to defend the main before he loses too much. Sigil is just going to pull back from there. Pulling a George Washington, calling the retreat. Sigil doing a good job of distracting Dodobird's massive infantry force. Dodobird strapped for cash at the moment, down to 5 harvesters to Sigil's 8 harvesters and 2 derricks. Sigil's just cranking out heavy tanks and infantry. Making a push on Dodobird's first expansion. Sigil now on his second expansion. Third expansion, excuse me. Well, depends on how you slice that cake. Sigil smartly using 1 MCV to harvest 2 expansion ore patches. And lots of eco-harassment against Dodobird. Sigil with an absolutely massive infantry force, or rather Dodobird with an absolutely massive infantry force, and Sigil with a sizable tank force. If Sigil were just to go radar tech, which he's about to do, I think he might start working some V2s into the mix. An offensive from Sigil. A false charge. Escaping with all of his vehicles intact. Doing a great job of just harassing Dodobird's massive force. Dodobird just holding the center there so that he can respond to the left or to the right. And also moving out blind with his MCV. Not the best move. Again, Sigil just harassing that huge blob, losing a tank in the process, but also claiming a tank. Dodobird destroying 2 of Sigil's harvesters, taking him down to 7 harvesters. Dodobird now at 6 harvesters. Dodo with airplanes. Rather, Sigil with airplanes, excuse me, and a V2 rocket launcher. 3 V2 rocket launchers. Unable to find their mark and losing tanks. That was a good hit. If he can keep that up with those rocket launchers and just keep harassing and harassing, drawing them into the fire of the V2s and then pulling back, flanking the army, he's really got a good rhythm going. Sigil chasing off the MCV of Dodobird, probably going to deal with that expansion pretty quickly. Sigil with an income advantage of about 3,000. One of the harvesters is destroyed, the other escapes on a sliver of health. And the forces of Dodobird getting wiped out. Dodobird calling a good game at 12 minutes and 52 seconds. 427 to 279. Let's go to the eco graph. Dodobird with an advantage early on, quickly losing that advantage and falling by the wayside to Sigil's more sizable force. Dodobird also ahead in just the sheer number of troops that he had, but Sigil using his forces, splitting his forces fantastically. At one point, actually having 4 separate forces, taking out the first expansion of Dodobird, harassing the eco lines from the rear, chasing off the MCV, while at the same time using 2 different forces to distract Dodobird's much more massive infantry blob. So actually commanding 5 different forces at one time, including air reconnaissance. I didn't look at something here. Sigil still only with 27.3 actions per minute. So it just goes to show that you don't need to perform 1 action per second, as some of these players are, to play a really tight, smart game. On to game 2.
Battle control terminated. Battle control initialized.
Hello and welcome to Red Alert Gaming League, Season 9, Minions Round 1. In the upper right corner, we have Sigil playing as Russia. And in the lower left corner, we have Dodobird playing as Ukraine. Let's go to the production tab. Both players dead even on their production. Blood completely clueless that he's watching a RAGL match. That's enough from the peanut gallery. Sigil taking same stance that he took last game, spreading out his infantry forces, covering his flanks while keeping his main force centered. He's going to contest that oil derrick in the middle. There's a total of 5 derricks on this map. 2 in the corners, 1 in the center. 2 in each corner, I should say. Lots of open space on this map. Base pushes are going to be absolutely... well, they're going to be very important, to say the least. It's so much ground for the infantry to cover. And so many opportunities for flanks that... well, we'll see how it goes. Dodobird capturing the first oil derrick. Sigil holding the center of the map with a static infantry position of 5 riflemen spread out in a concave. Absolutely beautiful. Sigil's going to capture that derrick. Dodobird's going to come out with his war factory first. Sigil probably slightly distracted by the engagement in the center. Also, the micro that's required to cap that last rifleman scout from Dodobird. Dodobird about 13 seconds ahead with the deployment of his war factory. Both players about dead even on actions per minute. And almost even on income. However, Dodobird is slightly ahead. Sigil just sitting on his war factory and the power plant before that for just a second. Again, those seconds really add up in the first 5 minutes of the game. Dodobird and Sigil coming out with APCs. Sigil capturing his second oil derrick, moving on to his third. He scouted out the locations beforehand. That's really good. About to be 3 derricks to 1. APC not finding the scouts of Sigil, moving in to take a look at the main base. Going to the center of the map to deal with the infantry, but meeting rocket troopers and Sigil's APC. He's going to hold that position. Dodo's APC finding the scouts of Sigil. And a loaded up APC from Sigil. Didn't see what he put in there. And it's a taxi cab full of rocket troops come to destroy your oil derrick. What a surprise. That derrick is going down. Nothing that Dodo can do about it at this point. And Dodobird down to 0 oil derricks. Both players on 5 harvesters. Both players going to come out with a MCV at the same time. Sigil with arguably better map control, better awareness. Both players... well, Dodobird is watching those expansion points. Oh, and a really, really effective eco-snipe rocket drop. 1 harvester going down, another on a sliver of health. Dodobird just realizing what's happened, and if those rocket troopers can get out of there, they'll make it like bandits. Oh, move, buddy, move. There they go. An excellent escape vector through the bottom of the map. That APC is so quick. 2 harvesters down. Dodobird now on 4 harvesters and 0 oil derricks. a sizable force developing from Sigil, almost losing that APC to the Flame Tower, just falling asleep on it for just a second. Both players dead even in actions per minute. Sigil, however, floating 4K, about 3,000 ahead in income, nearly. And a massive force from Sigil taking the center of the field. Both players out with their first expansion. An Eco Slide from Sigil. He's got 3 Harvesters and 1 Ore Refinery, while Dodobird seems to have just deployed 2 refineries. He's going to lose that position. There's 1 Harvester down. And selling off the Ore Refinery. That Harvester again escapes with a sliver of health. Dodobird going for the lower right-hand corner. Sigil still on 3 oil derricks and 6 harvesters to Dodo's 5 harvesters and 0 derricks. A massive infantry blob by Sigil is developing. Sigil now on his 2nd war factory. Dodo tentatively calling it good game at 7 minutes and 15 seconds, realizing what's about to happen. Sigil is the kind of player where if you let him get away from you for just a second, he will absolutely roll over every single one of your expansions and harass your main base until you are totally discombobulated. Sigil devoting his entire force to deal with 1 heavy tank that's harassing his eco lines. Or, excuse me, Dodo moving his entire force to deal with Sigil's tank. Sigil moving out, about to deploy his 2nd expansion. Leading in income by $5,000. Now with control of 4 oil derricks. And this is where the split comes in. He knows that Dodobird has a massive force, and he is just going to make it so that force doesn't know which way to go. Left or right, left or right. The answer is both. Sigil with an attack on Dodo's 2nd expansion, destroying 2... Oh, was that... Did he not mean to sell that? I think he just sold his MCV. By mistake, Dodo. That is really unfortunate. Sigil with great distraction and harassment with a force that has just been destroyed, but highly effective, killing another ore truck in the process. Dodobird now down to 2 ore trucks, one of which is on very low health. Dodobird completely strapped for cash with half the income of Sigil. Sigil now on 7 harvesters. About to come out with aircraft. Dodobird coming out with an MCV with idle harvesters, making sure that the way is clear before he redeploys them. Dodobird calling it good game at 9 minutes and 50 seconds. 104 to 83. Let's go to the economy graph. Dodobird with an advantage again through minutes 1 and 2.5. Sigil taking away the oil derricks from him and then passing him by and staying ahead from minute 3.5 onward. Take a look at the army graph. Sigil develops an army early on and is just able to hold on to it a little bit longer and more effectively than Dodobird. Dodobird going for the center of the map. Sigil with awareness throughout the entire map and going for more defensible positions with his expansions. Taking the center of the field in this map is absolutely important. These trees around the oil derrick there make it very difficult to advance into this position effectively, and doing that also gives you good cover for this double ore patch here. Anyway, both games going to Sigil. Red Alert Gaming League, Minions Round 1, Season 9.
Battle control terminated.